G'day, welcome along to Homebrew Wednesday on a Monday. Feeling quite good today. I thought I'd seize the opportunity. I'm feeling good. I'll get out there and try this beer. We have a talk about this beer. I've just poured it. My camera's been doing, my phone's been doing some weird things lately. It rings people by itself. And also the other day, the audio book came on all by itself. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And now I just recorded a video and just basically took a photo. But anyway, I poured the stout. And I was just saying actually that those of you guys that know me, that this is the gas that I use is 80% CO2 and 20% nitrogen. So that's 80% CO2, 20% nitrogen. So, and you just use the same, your normal tap setup, your normal full CO2 unit. Nothing changes, just the same, and you pour it out. And it gives you that nice, that head. It's only been in the keg for a couple of days, so it's not quite ready. But I tell you what, it's drinking very nicely. Now, I need to introduce to you, this here is a present from Mr. Partington in Yorkshire. Sent me this, and this gonk's name is Martin. It's Martin the Buddhist gonk. So a bit of story behind that, and so thank you so much, Mr. Partington. Love your work. It's awesome. It's got little lights that go on here and there, and little lights that flash at the back. Yeah, a lot of fun. So thank you for taking the time to do that. Really appreciate it. Put them over there. Where are we? We'll put them down here a bit. So back to the stout. So cheers. Let's have a wee bit of a look. Okay, it's really, really roasty. Got a few things to say about this, and I'll give you the recipe as well. So get your pen and paper out. Very roasty, toasty, and smooth, much like myself, right? Cheers. Now, that is actually wonderful. That is a very nice beer, and as quite often it is, it can be a mistake. I forgot to bring the book out. Our mate Skid Baxter sent me a book. And I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote the book, but maybe I'll bring it up in another video. Yes, very, very generous as Skid. He sent a few people some books and all sorts of stuff. It's wonderful, and it's much appreciated by everyone. And I love this book. I've just sort of started on it, so I took a recipe out of it for a dry stout. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't get flaked barley. So, not knowing much, well, so here's what I did have. 4 kg of pale malt. So that's a kind of English style malt. 400 grams of roast barley, 200 grams of roast wheat, and 100 grams of light chocolate. And I rang up Jared at Your Shout and I said, hey, Jared, I need this. Do you have any flaked barley? He said, no, we don't. Gladfields don't seem to be supplying flake barley, and I don't think they've ever have. They may have. And so I said, okay, well, listen, I can't remember what it was. I think I added, instead of having flake barley, I put 200 grams of roast wheat, so that and that was just a guess off the top of my head, because I often use roast wheat in my beer if I'm doing a dark. So I just added that to it, and then so we went away and did that, and he was going to post it to me. And I think it was the next day I said to myself, you know what, I really need to get some flaked barley, because that will be very important in an Irish dry stout. So I rang up the North Island, Wellington. No, I didn't ring them up. I ordered online that's not full 400. That should be 500 grams. It was definitely 500 grams of flaked barley. So I ended up with 4 kg of pale malt, 500 grams of flaked barley, 400 grams of roast barley, 200 grams of roast wheat, and 100 grams of light chocolate. Now, I mashed in at 67. That was a 60-minute mash. And I used 7 grams of Materi hops at 80 because it was 80-minute boil. 20 grams of Materi hops at 20 minutes. Gave me an IBU of 27. And everything went, it was actually very, very good brew day. It's probably one of the best I've had. I just used reused my yeast, my slurry, and I've once again I've see here, just pop you over there, Jack Martin. So once again I've saved the slurry from this one, and I'll be using it again next time. In fact, I think I might brew the whole thing again. There's a bit of pressure built up in there. So that's just the slurry from the bottom. The beer's got the beer in it, and on brew day, it pays to leave this in the fridge until just before you're about to pitch it. And I know there's a temperature difference, but it doesn't appear to make any difference. Because if I leave it out or what you could do is tip the beer out and then bring it up to room temperature if you wanted in here, just as you're brewing for the day. But what happens if you just leave it like this to come up to room temperature? This slurry goes back into suspension. Don't really want that, so you just tip that beer out. Hope that makes sense. It's a very nice, very, very nice beer. Well, it's got a very nice. There's obviously a lot of roasty, toasty chocolate. There's a little bit of, because I'm really familiar with Monterey hops now, as I've been using them for quite a few years, and I can always, I know the taste straight away. It's got a really nice, and it's only slight in this one, a really nice grapefruit rind, which to me sits nicely and differently in a dark beer. I enjoy it. So when I'm sipping away the beer, I get all the dark roast and everything like that, and then I get this kind of grapefruit rind, and it's only a little bit. It's very, very tasty. So that's why I use that. So I ended up with an OG of 1052. And I ended up with a final gravity of 1014. Now there's a lot of unfermentables in that list. So that's going to give me the high OG of 1052, and it actually should have been a lot lower, but anyway, my efficiency was quite good. But then when it all finished fermenting, it was 1014, which is really good. And I know that a lot of dry stouts are about can come down to 1010 or 1011 sort of thing. And of course, I didn't use any no crystal malt, because dry stouts, Irish stouts, no crystal malt. And even though it's a high finish, right, 1014, I still got a 5% beer, and which is great. And also, it's not thick and syrupy and sweet, which you get a lot of that from the crystal. But even though it's got a high 1014, it's actually very, very nice. It's still dry. It's got a lot of body, and that, as I say, that was a mistake because I couldn't get any flake barley. And so I threw in 200 grams of roast wheat, and then I ordered some from up Wellington, and they would, I can't even remember the name of the place. I'll be ordering it again this week from them. And it was really quick, 2 days, and it was here. So I might get that sorted out today. So that's about it. I'm calling it Cuchulainn. The Irish, the Irish hero, fabled hero, Cuchulainn. I like studying things sometimes, and I remember years ago when I was at work, I studied, I was actually listening to this album, Black Rose by Thin Lizzy. And there's a song on here, the last song, The Black Rose. And he talks about Cuchulainn. I thought, who's this fellow Cuchulainn? You know, his eyes are dark, his expression sullen, and how he fought and always won. When they cried when he had fallen. It's brilliant, and I love the music in it, that Irish. And so one thing led to another, and I read this book called The Tain, and I think the Tain Bolchali, well, I can't pronounce it because I just can't, but I think it translates to the cattle raid of Cooley. Okay, so and it's got about, this is one of the adventures of battles with Cuchulainn. So I thought, what Irish stout? I have an interest in that sort of thing. So yeah, I read the book a couple of times. Actually, it was just a bit hard going the first time, but the second time through it was great story. And funny enough, as one thing leads to another, cheers. I'm definitely going to brew that this week. There's another album here, an album put out by Horselips. And yeah, this is called The Tain. You know, so there's a book by Horselips called The Tain, and they sort of put the story into a musical album, which it's great. Really, really good. I enjoy it. I've played it for a while. Must play these two albums today, actually. So that's why I've called it Cuchulainn. His eyes dark and his expression sullen. Just quickly moving on. I think I told you a few months back that I was going to cut holes in my lid after watching Stoney did his, and I made an absolute hash of it. Stainless steel is not easy to cut, and I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination at all, but I have a go, and I got the angle grinder out, and I had trouble securing this shape down. Tried to put it in the vise, but it kind of wasn't working. But anyway, I got there and done it, and it works a treat. So thanks for that, Stoney. That looks great. Okay, so that's it from me for another week. I hope you got that. This is really good. I'm going to brew it again this week because it's really, really nice. And I'm actually going to... I'll show you my taps next time. I've got a whole couple of rows of taps, about 20 taps or something that my wife found on the side of the road. That's another story for another day. But she does things like that, you know. Bless her. I hope you got the recipe: 4 kg of pale malt, 500 grams of flake barley, 400 grams of roast barley, 200 grams of roast wheat, 100 grams of light chocolate, 7 grams of Motuiri hops at 80 minutes, 20 grams of Motuiri hops, and I put in a one of those wheel flock tablets things as well, and an Hbw of 27, reuse my yeast from the smoky ember, and that was about it. Went really well. It was drinking really nicely. I think in a week, just like the smoky ember, boy, geez, towards the end of the keg, that thing was absolutely beautiful. I'd like to make that one again too. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of dark beers, and I enjoy them. I think they're probably my pick at the moment, even though we're coming into summer. It doesn't worry me. I had a half G. I had a big jar of Mustang Pale Ale from Wigram Brewery the other day, and it was absolutely fabulous. So at the moment, I think I might just carry on doing some darks, get another tap set up. So I've got 2 taps going, one dark, different darks, or whatever. Should be a lot of fun. So everyone, take care. And if I see you again if I don't see you again before Christmas, you have a nice break. Have a good time, and look after your family and friends. And so, cheers. As they say, brew on, keep brewing. Oh, it's a beauty.